That had to be a very traumatic experience and made the city probably feel a little different to you at that
Almost definitely. That changed. Because that happened, I think, in like 78, 79. And it seemed like the city flipped upside down after that. You had all these child hustlers coming about. When I really started to understand what was going on, when I got like in the 10th grade, I remember leaving Osborne because of some domestic stuff going on with my family or whatever. And we ended up back on Lawton School Prep. I had to go to Cooley High School. And I remember this girl in my classroom. I can't remember that teacher's name. He was a science teacher. I think his name was Mr. Peoples or something. I can't remember. But it's been so long ago. But she came in class with Gucci boots on. She had the goofy duffel bag, purse, her hair in crimps. And I mean, she had a car, her own place. We in the 10th grade. And I knew then it was a shift in the way we lived in Detroit. Kids started getting more money than adults. They driving better cars than their parents. They living in nice homes. They living just like adults. And we in the 10th grade. I remember I had a friend, he was a young boy. And he used to tell me a lot of stuff about what they used to do and how they sold drugs. And it was amazing to me to watch that, especially driving down Davidson because I still had family still living on Webb. And we used to go back and forth all the time up and down Davidson. And when I seen these guys with these chains on and standing on the corner over there on Dexter and Max Julians, Gandalfs, and sheepskin coats and all that, I'm like, what the world is? Like my man did that documentary said, this city is bananas for. I'm like, this is different right here. It went from Stacey Adams, Levi jeans, blue jeans, and plaid shirts to top tens and top tens, like I said, Gandalf's, nanny goats, and just, I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy.
how did the child hustler come about? What caused that particular shift from kids going from acting like kids to now acting like adults?
I can't really say. It's just, I think more so than anything, I think it was a sense of rebellion and kids wanted to take care of themselves. Their parents, a lot of them, wasn't doing functional things no more because a lot of the jobs and whatnot, they either went south or they went out to the suburbs. And back then, it was a minimum amount of jobs that you could get at these plants because they took all the factories out of the city and moved them out in the suburbs. Um, there's so many things that took place back then economically that caused a lot of these kids to do what they did because a lot of these kids didn't have a choice. Some of them did it for the fame of it. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to be down with something. But in a lot of cases, these kids, a lot of them didn't have nothing, no family, nowhere to go. So they latched on to that. At least they can get some money to get something to eat. And it became an epidemic. The dope fiends was caught up in the epidemic. So was the drug dealers because they was caught up in the epidemic of making money. So it was a lot of different elements, I think, to it. And society was changing. We was evolving into something different. Detroit came into a thing of self independence on the streets. They had an underground economic that the police really didn't understand at one point, and they couldn't control it. You got little kids hustling. When you watching kids walking up and down the street, the last thing you think they're selling drugs. That wouldn't even come across your mind. But Detroit is a different type of place, different mentalities. You got different levels of corruption from political side and the street side, and they all intermix together. It's too deep for me to get into, but a lot of people understand exactly what I'm talking about. And I think that's what caused the change. And they wanted certain things to happen to get rid of the homes in Detroit, to bring other businesses in Detroit with different faces, races. So we was uh, business owners like dealerships. There was a lot of dealerships up and down Dexter, Davidson, Woodward. That was owned by black people. Black people, like I said earlier, a lot of black people had more than one home. They had cleaners, they had grocery stores. Black people had it going on like in the late 60s, early 70s. Because a lot of times people don't know this, but a lot of government funding from Nixon. Because my father said he made more money when Nixon was in office than he ever made in his life. So he was giving out a lot of black people government funding. If they wanted to open up a business, go to college, whatever, it was a platform for them to do that because the government was giving that type of assistance at that time. That's the reason why a lot of malls and things like that was built in the suburbs. So I think a lot of those things together caused a lot of young people to look at money more so than anything else. Education, anything. They wanted money, they wanted fashion, they wanted clothes, they wanted women, they wanted all the things that adults had, but they wanted it in a big way. They wanted more. So that's why I think, these young people changed and started becoming rebellious like that.